I met your girl today. You would be proud of her. She acts a lot like you, though just a bit demure. You would have loved this day, watching the timbers rise, the 100-year-old barn against cerulean sky. I never made too much when I would play your place. Still I could sing my songs and figure out the pace. After we'd shut her down, we'd talk away the night. I'd crash out on your couch to the glow of the wood stove light. Bitter winds pouring in through frosted window panes. Strong coffee in the morning pounding through my veins. It was a world apart, a place of last retreat. Old spooks and the ghost of Grant, hand in hand walking down the street. Hey, I went back last year. You wouldn't know the place. It's a big-time tourist town, not one old familiar face. Remember Willie Fair, that drunk old crazy sot? He passed out and he froze to death in the town that time forgot. We were so hungry then, living life like a travelogue, flying low through the rolling hills in the early morning fog. Appaloosa's galloping through granite-studded fields. Clive Gregson on the tape deck to my humming wheels. Was a little girl last time I played for you, but now she's all grown up, a woman in full bloom. You would be proud of her. There's a lot of you I see as she lights another cigarette and she sings my songs with me. Hey everybody, I'm Chris Falillo. Welcome to Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual, an evening of music and conversation. We're really glad to have you here tonight with us, and we have a great show in store for you. First, though, I want to acknowledge the local Two River Arts Council, who has been generous enough to give support to keep this program going. So we really appreciate Two Rivers and the Illinois Arts Council Agency for their support. Now, I've been hearing some disturbing news about people eating pie before the break. And I have only one thing to say about that. I wish I thought of it myself. But eat your pie whenever you want to. Now, I will share with you tonight that the pie baker from my house is actually not here. She's up in Chicago. So I had to make do with something else. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, as we go into the dessert part, of course, Reggie and I will have a conversation and would love to have you join in by way of the chat. So put in your comments and questions there, and when we come time to talk at the end, we'll bring those up. So that brings us to our guest tonight, Reggie Harris. He is an internationally renowned storyteller, performer, and song leader. And he sings songs that bring people together to celebrate not our differences, but our similarities. And I just love that concept. And as I was thinking about a way to open the show, it came to mind an old comment I heard years ago. I was involved with the Smithsonian Institution during their roots music traveling exhibit, New Harmonies. And they said, roots music is the soundtrack of the melting pot that is America. And I thought that just says so much about us. And I was kind of thinking back on my own style, my own playing to kind of re-examine my influences. And it occurred to me that the one person that I emulated perhaps more than any other was a black sharecropper named Mississippi John Hurt. He recorded a few sides on the 1930s and then disappeared and was rediscovered in the 1960s for the big folk music boom. Now, I've played a lot of his songs over the years, but this one is my absolute favorite. So I'm going to open up with this song called Louis Collins from Mississippi John. Miss Collins, she weeps, Miss Collins, she moans, to see her son Louis leaving home. All the angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet into that clay. The angels laid him away. Bob shot once, Louis shot two. He shot poor Collins, shot him through and through. The angels laid him away. Oh, kind friends, oh, ain't it hard to see poor Louis in a new graveyard? Oh, the angels laid him away. The angels laid him away, laid him 6 feet into the grave. Oh, the angels laid him away. When the people heard Louis was dead, all the folks they dressed in red. Well, the angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet into the grave. Well, now the angels laid him away. Miss Collins, she weeps, Miss Collins, she moans, to see her boy Louis leaving home. Oh, the angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet into the grave. Well, now the angels laid him away. Going back to the source with Mississippi John Hurt. Now, hey friends, Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual is of course free to anybody who wants to join in. We are delighted to have you with us. But we are sustained exclusively by your donations and now a little bit of grant money from Two Rivers Arts Council. So if you care to donate something, you can go to the link at the very top of the comments section and either click on the link and donate through PayPal, or you can drop us a check in the mail. So we appreciate all the support, and once again, I am really humbled by how many people have stepped up to the plate and made it possible to keep this series going along. All right, now our headline performer today is the descendant of a black slave and a white master. He is a masterful song leader who performs in the spirit of his mentors, Pete Seeger and Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagon, founder of Sweet Honey in the Rock. That's some pretty high credentials, friends. We're so very happy to have him here today. Please welcome Reggie Harris. Hey, Reggie, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you again. I'll tell you what, I am just always inspired when I see you perform. Now, I got to tell the audience a little something because, well, there you go. You can see it right there. Reggie recently had a miscommunication with a patch of black ice, and the black ice won. So he won't actually be performing guitar live, but the tradition of the song leader doesn't need musical accompaniment. It just springs forth from the ground, if you will. So I am delighted that I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever.
Well, you know, it'll make some difference. I had to put some of the songs that I'd like to do tonight on hold.
Sure.
As I'm having to do for weeks. But, you know, I do come from a tradition of folks who didn't have guitars. We did use pianos, but I come from a tradition of folks who sang a cappella and filled that church when I was growing up and my school when I was growing up with music. And we didn't miss the instruments. So,
oh, no.
Yeah.
And, you know, the music that comes out of the tradition of the black churches is effervescent. I mean, it just bubbles with spirit and energy. You know, so many great musicians have come out of that. Mavis Staples, Aretha Franklin, you know. Yeah. It's just a very powerful way to express ideas through song.
Well, it really is. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to some folks last week, and I said, you know, in my early years, you know, we used to have choir festivals, and choirs would come to our church in the afternoon, and you might have 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 choirs come in, and I heard voices that nobody knows who they were or whatever, just everyday people that would knock your socks off. Yeah. And they would just come in, they would sing some song, and we'd always be listening, kind of, can we learn that song?
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we turn you loose and let you show us exactly what we're talking about. Friends, here's Reggie Harris.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm going to start with a song that is always somewhere in my head and heart. Since the first time I heard it, I was driving in my car, and I heard the voice of Bessie Jones, Rise Up, recorded by Alan Lomax. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Feel free to harmonize. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? You say, yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, yes, my Lord. I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Oh, don't you know the road? Better going on home. Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road? Better going on home. Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, now don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, yes, my Lord. I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Oh, yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah. Well, I got told, but I got told, the streets of heaven are paved with gold. I'm gonna put on my glory shoes. I'm gonna walk that mighty fine road. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Little David, play upon your harp. Hallelujah. Well, don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the singing of the song? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, yes, my Lord. I say, sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, my Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, yes, Lord, I know the road. Well, I say, yes, Lord, I know the road. Bessie Jones and the Georgia Sea Island Singers. And as I said, I grew up with singers all around me. My mother used to grab us on Friday nights and tell us to turn off the television set. And we would gather around the piano and sing. And my sister would either take the melody or the harmony. The melody also would go to my mother. So I had to learn how to harmonize when I was about 5, 6 years old. And we were singing those songs that came from the time of slavery. And indeed, my family, as Chris mentioned, were slaves in Virginia. And they migrated to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is where I grew up. And one of the first songs that I remember being sung, my mother tells me it was one of the first songs I sang myself when I was in church at about 3 or 4 years old. This Little Light of Mine, one of the songs that Pete Seeger loved to sing. As a matter of fact, he loved it so much he wrote 2 verses to this traditional African-American spiritual. He took this song all around the world. Pete Seeger, who was a friend of mine for about 28 years or so. I think probably I was more a friend of his. Pete had a lot of friends. He gathered many of us together as he gave us some wonderful mentoring on how song leading could happen. And he was reconnecting me to a tradition that I had come out of. You know how we are as young people. We try to run away from those things that we think the old folks would like us to do. But Pete reconnected me to that tradition. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We would sit in that church. My mother would get us there nice and early so we could hear those old folks singing those songs. Well, way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. You know that way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Well, way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Way down in my heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Pete would say, the light that shines is the light of love, lights the darkness from above. It shines on me and it shines on you. It shows what the power of love can do. I'm gonna shine my light so bright and near, shine my light so far and near. If there's a dark corner in this land, I'm gonna let my little light shine. Well, this little light of mine, sing it with me, say, I'm gonna let it shine. Well, this little light of mine, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Well, some say it's dark and we cannot see. Love lasts world for you and me. Some say turn around and just go hide, but we have the power to change the tide. Some say life's a sad old story. We see a world that's bound for glory. The real power is yours and mine. Let your little light shine. Well, there's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. There's a little light, this light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, shine. This little light, this light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Sing it one more time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, I see you pop in from Ann Hills. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you, Ann. Well, I'm telling you, I have truly come to appreciate the voice in these last few weeks. I love singing a cappella anyway, but not having the guitar to surround my voice has refocused me on that which I come out of. Because, as I said, in the early days, we would sit in church for hours and they would just sing these songs. And they would just raise those songs up and the harmonies would fill the air and the feet on the floor. I used to ask my mother if I could go down to the bathroom, which was downstairs in our church. And And she would reluctantly say yes because she knew that I just wanted to go down there to play. And she would say, "You come back up here. You hear me?" Our mothers were very much in charge in those days. But I would go downstairs and I would go to the bathroom, but I would stay down there for a few minutes because I wanted to hear those feet on the floor with that muffled sound of those voices floating in the air. A most amazing, amazing, amazing time. You know, our nation sang more in those days. Not only black folks, but white folks were singing more, and Hispanic folks, and the various communities would have songs and song circles, and of course in churches or synagogues or other places of gathering. And that is where I really began to feel the music rolling and reverberating in my heart. And I heard the words of people like Langston Hughes, who said, "Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. With billowing sails, the galleons came, bringing men and dreams and women and dreams. Heart to heart, hand to hand, together we began to build this land. Some were free hands seeking a greater freedom. Some were indentured hands hoping to find their freedom. Some were slave hands guarding in their hearts the seed of freedom. But one word was there always: freedom. And of course, for my ancestors, they came on slave ships, sailed across the ocean, the long Middle Passage, landing here. My own family landed first in the Virgin Islands and then in the West Indies. And then they made their way to the mainland, sold probably in Richmond, Virginia, where 300,000 came ashore. They brought with them their history, their culture, and their songs. Oh Lord, how come me? Oh Lord, how come me? Oh Lord, how come me? I wish I'd never been born. They took my freedom away. They took my children away. They treat me so mean, Lord, and I wish I'd never been born. I wish I'd never been born. Oh Lord, how come me? Oh Lord, how come me? Oh Lord, how come me? I wish I never been born. Frederick Douglass said the sorrow songs are the song of the slave or the sorrows of their heart, and they are eased by them. But he knew the power of the song was not just in sorrow. No, because we as human beings cannot live forever in sorrow. Can I get an amen here? Yes, indeed. The sorrow songs, the spirituals, are songs that are layered with not only the songs of devastation, but they are songs that rise. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, oh, hallelujah. Well, I'm singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. Singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. I'm singing and praying with my mind. Well, I got it stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, oh, hallelujah. You know I'm walking and talking with my mind. I stayed on freedom. I'm walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on freedom. I'm walking and talking with my mind. Stayed on freedom. Hallelujah. 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 Well, you gotta walk, you gotta walk, you gotta walk with your mind on freedom. Walk, you gotta walk, you gotta walk with your mind on freedom. Oh, walk. Walk, sing it with me. Walk, and then you'll talk, and then you'll talk. You gotta talk with your mind on freedom. Talk, you gotta talk with your mind on freedom. Whoa, talk. Oh, well, there ain't no harm to keep your mind. You better now stay on freedom. Ain't no harm to keep your mind. Well, keep it stayed on freedom. Well, there ain't no harm to keep your mind. Well, keep it stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hey, hallelujah. Well, you gotta walk, you gotta walk, you gotta walk, a mind on freedom. Walk with your mind on freedom. Walk, then you talk, then you talk with your mind on freedom. Talk with your mind on freedom. Talk. Oh, there's no mind to keep your mind. Well, to keep it stayed on freedom. Ain't no harm to keep your mind stayed. Ain't no harm to keep your mind. Well, keep it stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 oh, hallelujah. Hey. Well, as I said, I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was raised in the Philadelphia public schools. And in those days, the music was really well taught in the public schools in Philadelphia as I was growing up. So I was introduced to all sorts of music. I was introduced to classical music, and of course, I was singing, spirituals, and both in my church and also at school. And I was singing pop songs, and show tunes. And in high school, we began to really delve into a lot of the Americana of music. And but of course, in elementary school, easy for me to say, We were introduced to folk music, the songs of Woody Guthrie and the songs of Pete Seeger and Josh White and Harry Belafonte, all of those amazing songsters. Many of the women as well, who I grew up listening to, the great Mahalia Jackson. In that gray getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. In that gray getting up morning, fairly well, fairly well. Mahalia Jackson was actually Martin Luther King Jr.'s favorite singer. She wasn't just his favorite singer, she was his source. There were times when Martin would have received innumerable death threats and phone calls, and he would realize that the pressure of being one of the leaders of the civil rights movement, that the weight of it was just weighing on him. And he would call up Mahalia Jackson in the middle of the night, and she was used to receiving those phone calls, and she would know what she needed to do. She needed to sing him a song. We know that song and story are what we are hardwired as human beings. And this has been an amazing, challenging time, has it not, my friends? We have been sitting in the middle of uncertainty for so very long. Last March, when I got home, my tour date was cut short as all of us came off the road when COVID became known as a great danger to us all. On March 8th, I was doing a performance in Buffalo, New York, and I was at a school, St. Mary's School for the Deaf, and in the middle of the morning, they came and told us that it was time to close down the schools. They had found 2 cases of COVID in Buffalo. And I got in my car and I drove home to Middleburg, New York, and settled in for a few weeks to see what was happening in the world, as we all did. Information coming, frightening, fear rising up. And you know, it was in that time that I realized very quickly that music was going to be one of the keys to getting us through. This was not a surprise. My friend Pete Seeger said once to us as we were talking about another time in our history when things were a little rough. He said, you know, when things are at their worst, that's the best time to be singing. And so as I sat in my house and I watched the news and I listened and I heard all of the various disturbing things that were coming our way, and some friends of mine and I, we said, you know, we need to get online. And most of us had not been performing online, so we had a little bit of a learning curve. And of course, now we're all StreamYard and Zoom and Google Meets, and we have all learned this new technology. But as I sat there and I thought about what I wanted to say to folks, it was song that came to me. And I'm joyful in the fact that this has been my grounding all of these years. This song that enveloped me from a very early age, that raised me up, as it were, with great song leaders like Bernice Johnson Reagon and Issei Barnwell and Fannie Lou Hamer, and all of those who knew that in song we find our grounding. And so it was that in those early days, about 3 weeks in, a song came to me, and I started writing it down. And as it turns out, this is a song that now is the title song to my latest CD, which was just released last week. The CD is called On Solid Ground. It's a CD of 13 songs, all fashioned in the time of the pandemic. From March to about August, I was writing furiously and collecting songs that I wanted to send out into the world. I didn't know I was going to make a CD. Most of us were thinking that things were sort of grinding to a halt. But after a few months of writing and writing and writing, I'd written 8 songs, and I had another 9th one that I had written, and then I gathered 4 more. The song that came to me in those early days was this one, because this was the message I knew that I wanted to send out into the world. And as luck would have it, I wrote it a cappella. The words say, "We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. And I remembered that, in the songs that came out of the time of slavery, those songs that people were singing when they were longing for freedom, longing for certainty, there was no evidence that certainty would ever be found by them. But they were not hindered. They were not stopped by that. They said, I'm on my way to freedom land. If you don't go, don't hinder me. And so they took great solace in those songs. And so this was the song I wanted to send out into the world. And indeed, I got the opportunity to sing it with people all around the world as opportunities to sing in song circles online came up. I want to sing it with you tonight. And the chorus is a fairly easy one to learn. I'll teach you the chorus. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not rest till the storm is over. That's the first line. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will not lay this burden down. I don't know if you'd planned to sing tonight, but this is a show of folk music and music of the people, so you shouldn't be really surprised that we're going to do some singing together. And I know we can't hear each other in this time, but I'm going to invite you to take a sip of your tasty beverage. I'm going to pull mine up here. Get nice and lubricated. If you're sitting there with somebody, I suggest that you may turn to them and say, I can't wait to hear you sing. And hopefully they'll say the same to you. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. The third line says, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on. And the last line, till we stand all together on solid ground. Till we stand all together on solid ground. And I'm going to invite you to, as I do, I'm going to invite you to make some percussion with your body. One of the things that came out of a lot of the African singing, particularly South African, with Joseph, Ladysmith, Black Mambaza, and those groups, they would say that when you're singing something that is singing into an affirmation, something that you wish to do, you need to show in your body movement toward action, toward making that thing come true. And so I'm going to ask you to kind of shake out your shoulders a little bit tonight and maybe loosen up your neck. And wherever you're singing this, I'm going to ask you to just maybe get a little rhythm going. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. Been a long, hard journey on a winding road. So many have gone before us. They carried a heavy load, but they went there singing as they made their way. Now it's in their footsteps we follow as we work today. We will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. Been a long, hard journey on a winding road. So many have gone before us. They carried a heavy load, but they went there singing as they made their way. Now it's in their footsteps we follow as we work. Today we will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. All around us there's hatred. All around us there's fear. Violence touches our hearts, and the message is clear. We mourn our martyrs. In our hearts they'll stay. Then we'll sing, we shall overcome, and go on our way. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. We will not rest till the storm is over. Hey, we will not lay this burden down. Well, we will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground. 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 On solid ground. It's what we all are seeking. And there is a little bit more hope in the world. And I think a lot of that hope is really because of song. Songs that have risen up and songs that we've all been sharing. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, so the world can't take it away. That's one of the songs I heard when I was growing up. Folks singing about a joy that they had deep inside, that they were going to keep. The world didn't give it, so the world can't take it away. We young folks didn't quite know what the old folks were talking about. Now, I have to say, all those old folks that were singing those old songs, I have to now reevaluate with my gray hair and my aging body, how old those old folks were. But I welcome this elder status. I welcome this ability to sing these songs to people of all ages, to give the gift that those folks gave to me, to give me a sense of the resonance of the body. People singing together. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom, or wade in the water, wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. You know that God's gonna trouble the water. So do ba do ba ba do ba da do ba do ba. So do ba do ba do so ba do ba. So ba ba da do ba do ba do ba. So ba da do ba do ba do. Well, who were those children all dressed in red? I say God's gonna trouble the water. They must be the ones that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the... Who were those children all dressed in white? I said God's gonna trouble the water. They must be the ones getting ready to fly. Yeah, God's gonna trouble the... In the water, say, wade in the water. Wade now, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who with those children all are dressed in blue? I said, God's gonna trouble the water. They must be the ones that made it through. God's gonna trouble the water. Well, who with those children all are dressed in black? I said, God's gonna trouble the water. They ain't never, 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 no, 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 they're not going back. Because they want to be free. So do ba da ba zoo ba do ba do da da do da da ba do ba da da ba da 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 da. Well, if you don't believe you can be set free, I say God's gonna trouble the water. Well, it's up to you and it's up to me. God's gonna trouble the water. Well, if you don't think you can be redeemed, God's gonna trouble the water. Just follow me down to the Jordan stream. God's gonna trouble the super duper dimba sir. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. Now God's gonna trouble the wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh, hey, Ann Hills, you've given me the gift of your voice so many times over the course of years, and I thank you. I'm gonna close out this segment with a song that I wrote for a conference back in the 1990s. It was a conference called In the Shelter of Each Other. And this was a conference of people gathering. It was sponsored by the Omega Institute and the Open Center. And I will play a video for this and invite you to sing along with that video. Invite you to sing a song that talks about us living in the shelter of each other. Because that is indeed how the people live. So you just follow the prompt. In the shelter of each other, our hearts and our souls survive. This is a song that I wrote inspired by a Gaelic saying years ago. The saying is, in the shelter of each other, the people live. And I wrote the song in the spirit of the spirituals, in call and response. So all you have to do is sing back to me when I sing to you. So let's try that. It goes like this. In the shelter of each other, of each other. In the shelter of our lives, we are open, we are open, we are dreaming, we are dreaming, we are hopeful, we are hopeful, we are wise. So let's try that chorus again. I'm going to lean on you a little heavier. Here we go. In the shelter of each other, in the shelter of We are open, we are open, we are dreaming. We are hopeful, we are wise. That chorus will come around again. You know that many times the weight of the world crashes in. We feel angry and afraid. We start to lose our sense of hope, our sense of connection. The isolation we have learned will not bring much in return if we truly cannot learn to live as one. Here we go. Right in the shelter of each other. In the shelter of our lives. We are open. We are dreaming. We are hopeful. We are wise. You know that many times the pain of the world crashes in. We feel broken and betrayed. We start to lose our sense of joy, our sense of direction. And though our history remains, well, it's our actions we must change if we hope to heal our planet. You know that we must stand here, right in the shelter of each other. In the shelter of our lives. Yeah, we are hoping. We are dreaming. We are hopeful. Yeah, yeah, we are wise. Sing together. Right in the shelter of each other, of each other. Right in the shelter of our lives. And we are hoping. We are dreaming. We are hopeful. We are wise. Yeah, we are open. We are dreaming. We are hopeful. We are wise. We are wise. We are wise. Indeed, we are. Music makes us hopeful. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, Reggie, wonderful job. Wonderful job, I got to tell you. It was great to see you play guitar at the end because, you know, the couple of shows I've done with you, I haven't actually seen that. and I love your style. I mean, well, it supports the music so beautifully.
Well, you know, it's a great. I miss the guitar, but you know, the music resonates, and you know this. The music
Yeah.
resonates. Through the day, we're walking around, we're singing a song in our hearts and singing a song in our voices, and the joy comes regardless. So, gotta lean in.
Absolutely. Now, I got to say this just one time. Someday, I want to be in the same room with you, and I want to play bottleneck slide guitar under you singing "Wade in the Water."
There you go.
You were an F, by the way. I was noodling around back here. I figured out I could actually do this, and not. I think probably not blow it. But that would be a lot of fun.
Blow
Definitely.
it, my God! No, you're a fine player. Man, I think you just settle right in and go to town.
Yeah. All right. Now I've got to do a couple of quick housekeeping things. If you were going to grab dessert, now would be a good time to do so.
I think I'll do
and
that.
all of you folks listening in as well. First of all, let me tell you about next month's concert. We're going to be bringing in from Southern Illinois, Will Merring and Robert Bolin. These are wonderful performers. Robert Bolin is the most incredible musician I've ever met. He is a former member of the legendary Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys. He was the guitarist for Kathy Mattea for a number of tours. And actually, guitar is like his third down instrument. Simply an incredible combination. Will Merring is a gorgeous singer and a gifted songwriter. And these guys are regional favorites, and delighted to have them join us next month. And that will be May the 15th, 7 p.m. Central Time. Now, the one thing you can do more than anything else to help our series out, if you're enjoying this, please talk about us to your friends. That's going to be more powerful than any Facebook ad I can compose or any posting I can do. So we're delighted to talk about that. And I will tell you that I have booked most of the summer at this point. I anticipate it's going to be at least through the end of the summer, probably later than that before we're able to go back to in-house live performances. But in the meantime, we're going to continue Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual, and we'll see where it goes from there. We may still continue and do both of them, depending upon how crazy my life gets. Okay, back to dessert. So, tonight, as I mentioned, the Hickory Ridge Concerts official pie baker is in Chicago visiting her sister, so I'm on my own. So I just went to Hy-Vee, and they didn't have a single pie in the place. So tonight, I have a blueberry popover, turnover, which is about as close to pie as I can get. So any of you that have desserts, I hope you will join us. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, you're welcome to jump in anytime, and by all means, eat whenever you want. We're just glad to have you here with us to share the music and such. Okay, so, Reggie, what you got for dessert, my friend?
I've got this really nice kind of lemon something cake.
Hey, can you do the hand thing to your camera?
Oh, yes, I will do. Yes, right.
The autofocus is...
Retrain my camera to see me. We'll see if I can... I know what I'm going to have to do.
Okay,
so,
well, you
avert
do
your
that.
eyes.
Yeah. Well, Reggie's getting that taken care of. I will test today's pastry. Not bad, but it isn't even in the same magnitude of the usual pies I get. That's actually one of the best features about this series. I get homemade pie once a month, and I get to eat most of it. So let's see. I will tell you that we have several people booked following up in June. Of course, May, as I mentioned, is Will Merring and Robert Bolin. In June, we're bringing a very talented bottleneck slide player from Chicago, Donna Harula. She's just released an album, and that will be her downstate album CD release party. And the woman's got some chops, folks. I hope you can join us for that one. We don't have July booked as of yet, but August is going to be Artes Latinas from Iowa, a duo performance from a woman that I know who was born in Colombia and brings the music of South America in a wonderful performance. And then in September, we are going to be bringing back my good friend Eric Noden. So Hickory Ridge Concerts website will be updated soon. Apparently the URL was allowed to disappear but you can still get there by going to my website and look under the extras section. That's actually where the website sits. All right, well, let's bring Reggie back. There you are.
Yep.
All right. So, Reggie, I've got to ask you, and you go ahead and keep eating for a while.
Don't worry. This stuff is
One of
great.
the things that I just love about your performance is the level of energy that you bring to the stage. You know, as a performer myself, I mean, you know, we're looking at so many different things. Am I in the middle of a shot? You know, am I looking into the camera? But you still maintain that joy and excitement that to me really defines an incredible performance. And I know that you have had some hard times in your life. How do you keep that positive outlook, keep that energy focused?
You know, it's an amazing thing. When I first started out, I was really tuned into all the technical aspects of performing. You know, and like you said, you know, I'm like getting the voice right and how's the guitar.
Yeah.
And I had this amazing. I started teaching performance one year at the Swannanoa Gathering.
Oh yeah.
And so the first year I went in, and I sort of did the normal thing. I you know, had people get up and do a couple of, you know, bars of something or sing a song and tell them, you know, well, you more this, more that. And I just thought, you know, it's so arbitrary. You know, what is the real center of energy that any of us are using or connecting to? And so for that next year, I just thought about energy, and I read all these amazing, you know, commentaries and books about people who were performers and compiled all this information. I talked to friends of mine, and then I was riding with an airline pilot. He was taking me to the airport after a gig. And I started asking him all these questions about flying, you know, and I said, you know, you have all this, you know, all this equipment around you. And I asked him all these questions. What happens when I hear the engines revving, all this? And then I said to him, you know, you're flying the plane many flights a day, and you have all these lives behind you. What are you thinking about as you're flying? Are you thinking about the lives of the people that you have? Are you thinking about the dangers and all that? He said, no. I said, come on, you have to be thinking about the responsibility you have of keeping all those people safe. And he said, no, I'm really not. I think about the fact that I love to fly, and I think about flying the plane to the best of my abilities so that I live. They can come along for the ride.
Wow.
And I thought, for me, I sing because I love to sing. And so I want to climb inside every song and find that joy spot. Mm-hmm. And since that time, I've had absolutely no trouble finding energy.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. You know, those of us that actually get to do what we do for a living are really blessed.
We are.
And I try to remember that every single day when I pick up a guitar. You know, I had a friend who, I've lived in rural Illinois for about 30 years, and a friend of mine used to say, "Beat scraping hog heads at the Oscar Mayer factory." That would be Ace Strome, by the way, my buddy down in Schuyler County. But, you know, we have the gift of doing something we love to do, and we manage to sustain ourselves doing it. And what a wonderful thing that is. So, you mentioned earlier about being mentored by Pete Seeger and Dr. Bernice Reagon.
Yeah.
That had to have been an incredible experience. You know, it's those connections to the roots.
You know, what we do brings us in contact with a lot of different people. And as the years went on, at festivals and various places, you know, they would be there, and I just would watch everything they did.
Yeah.
And I would just try to learn. But eventually, you know, you sort of get in a room with them and you say something, and the magic of them was they responded to you like, you know, you're a human being, and you're one of their, you know, contemporaries, and they would, you know, it's really funny. Neither one of them ever really gave much in the way of like advice. You know, we think about, you know, but they lived such exemplary lives as artists and as activists, and then they would say, "So, what do you want to do with this song?" And I would think, another one time we invited Bernice in to sing on a song on one of our albums, and And she said, we were singing, "Oh Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn."
Oh yeah.
And she said, "So how do you think this song ought to go?" And I just said to myself, my mother didn't raise stupid children.
Yeah.
So I said, "I don't know, Sister Bernice, how do you hear it?" And she didn't miss a beat. She said, "Okay, fine, we're going to start like this." But she launched into that song from note one. She was somewhere else. She was in the body of that song. And I listened to her voice, and I tried to match the energy of that voice. And then she just kind of looked over me, and I took a little chance, and I sort of riffed on something, and she looked over me, and she gave me this little smile. And that's what I think they really gave to us,
Yeah.
They lived their lives by the creed of their beliefs. They treasured every song they sang.
Yeah.
And I loved Pete Seeger because he hated people coming up and telling him how important he was. He was not about, I was touring in Italy at one point, and the folks over there said, they wanted to give him an award, and they said, "Do you think he'll come?" And I said, "No." I said, "No, he's not coming to get an award. If you have a, strike or something, or, you have something you want to do with kids or whatever, you might be able to get a rise out of him, but he's not coming for you to give him an award telling him how great he is."
Yeah. Now, I've heard, I never had the honor of meeting Pete Seeger or seeing him perform live. By the time I was really active in this, Pete was really limiting his performances.
Yeah.
But the stories I've heard from performers that work with him have suggested to me there are some artists that are just generous in spirit. John Hartford was one. Alison Krauss is one. I mean, there are other artists that aren't, and I won't name them.
No.
But I got the sense that Pete was one of those great souls. And I've, seen old footage of him singing and doing, very simple folk songs in a time when folk music was starting to fade out. But he just stood right up and talked about the connection to the people and this song that has come out of our mutual experience, one word at a time over these years.
Yeah.
And it just really struck me.
Pete,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Pete went down to the South during the Civil Rights Movement.
Yeah.
And he didn't go down there as Pete Seeger. He didn't go down there as some big icon. He didn't go down there to, have the press come and take pictures of him. He went down there to sit with the people and to sing with the people, to learn the songs in the same way that they learned the songs and taught the songs, and to then go and share. He was down there to work. He was down there to put his life on the line because people's lives were on the line.
Yeah.
And I just and gracious, yeah. One of the funny moments that we had, we were at one of the river festivals on the Hudson, and I was sort of wandering around, and Pete came over to me and he said, "Reggie, I need somebody to help me sing this song." So I said, "Okay, what's the song?" And he told me what the song was or something. I didn't know the song, but I figured, okay, it's a simple song. So I went over, and we went over to near the stage, and I saw that there was some wood on the stage, the big tree trunk. And so he starts teaching me the song, and I'm learning the chorus. And then he says, "Okay, it's time for us to go on." And we go up on stage, and he hands me an axe. And it's a work song, and we're going to chop wood while we sing.
Nice.
Now, Pete chopped wood, every week. I hadn't chopped wood probably ever. So he starts into the song, and I start into the song, and then he starts chopping wood, and I start chopping wood. And by the chorus, I'm dying.
Oh, I love it.
But on we go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to heat with wood, so I know exactly what you're talking about. If you haven't done it and you start doing it, you're going to be aching in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But, in my mind, even though I've never interacted with Pete personally, when I think of some songs, like If You Miss Me at the Back of the Bus, I first heard it by Pete singing it. And I just remember this vision of him throwing his head back Putting it out there. Now, about 2 years ago, I managed to come across a video of the Freedom Riders,
Freedom Singers.
Freedom Singers,
Yeah.
doing this song. And it was completely different. It was more of the African-American church tradition. But, I had heard it through Pete. So when I reinterpret it, I'm going through that pathway to get to the music.
Well, such an important thing, as well, because Pete didn't try to become them.
No.
He stayed true to who he was. And I think that mirrored and modeled for a lot of, we talk a lot about, appropriation and authenticity. Pete went down, he learned those songs. He learned the nuance. I loved it. He would sit in a room and hear a song, and then he would go up and he would come up to me sometimes and he would say, "Sing that song for me." And he would notate it on the spot.
Oh, wow.
So he would get the details of everything you're doing. But then he didn't try to become, the Freedom Singers or become Bernice or become... He stayed authentic to who he was. He would attribute, every song that he learned to the people, tell you the stories surrounding the song. And I think that was really important modeling for a lot of us coming around because, you want to find your own voice in that. And try as we might. I love singing with Sister Bernice, but I didn't have that thing that she had,
Yeah.
And trying to get it, that's not my thing, So I loved her though. She said, the one time she said, I just want to hear us sing together because I want to hear our voices mix.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a magical thing when you have two voices blending together. You mentioned that you had learned to sing in the church by about year 5.
Yeah.
Now I was raised Catholic, and I learned how to sing in church, and I was just attracted to the sour parts. And Reggie, I knew I was good because the priest always looked at me when I was singing. I would sing really loud, of course. But so many people find that is the point where they begin to learn music. They begin to connect with music. Well,
the spirituality of music, and we're not talking religion. The spirituality of music is the thing that has held human beings together for all of these a millennium, and finding whether it's a church or community hall or wherever you make contact, the spirit of people embodied in their music is something that just resonates and it changes. Bernice had a saying. She said, music makes possible what seems impossible. And that whole idea that the civil rights movement, after they would have mass meetings every night. And folks would come after work, after school, after, a day in the field. And they would gather in a church somewhere, Montgomery, Birmingham, wherever they were. But what they would do, they were going to have an organizing meeting, but they would sing for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just to get that feeling, that spirit moving. And then you knew that you had the power to go out and do something. But it was the songs that really fueled the civil rights movement and so many movements in this nation. And,
interestingly enough, I read an article, probably the New York Times or God knows where, but they were talking about group singing and group participation. And apparently the brain waves of large groups of people singing together begin to sort of coordinate together. And that they quite literally attribute this to a biological sense of bonding and creating that cohesive, feeling, and ultimately what we now call culture. It really does do things to join together and share voices and reach out for song.
Well, I know that you've probably experienced this too, but when one of my first tours through Kansas, got a week of singing in nursing homes and senior centers.
Sure.
And you go in there, and a lot of times they're rolling 40 people into a room, many of them in wheelchairs, many of them seemingly comatose, certainly unresponsive. And I used to go in there, the first couple of days we go in there and we got our little fancy songs, and we kind
Yeah.
of, raise them up and, try to be whatever we are. And I thought, this is doing nothing. So we started singing songs like, Wade in the Water and Home on the Range and,
Yeah.
How Great Thou Art. And I watched those people come out of their stupor and rise up and start to sing and come alive.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that people were doing research on the fact that the brain centers retain those songs and they retain the memories of those. I mean, we would end, a concert with those folks, and as long as you were doing the songs that from their era that they knew, they would come to life.
Yeah.
And it just taught me so much, first of all, about allowing songs to do their work and getting out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But also just the whole sense that being a performer, one of the greatest gifts is to catch that spark, to be able to make that connection between us and people in a way that transcends anything we might plan to do.
Yeah. And, I think this is one of the challenges of doing a live stream presentation as opposed to an audience-based presentation. But I think to a degree that still exists, even in this context.
For those.
I can look at the camera, but I know Ann Hills is out there. I know John Ekstrom is out there. And even though I don't see them, there's a sense that. And when we first started doing Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual, literally 2 days after they shut down the state of Illinois, it was terrible. Every technical issue in the world you can imagine. But I wanted to stay connected with the people that had been coming to our series all these years.
Yeah.
And I really do think that is important, and I hope that in some small way, we've managed to do that.
Well, it's a gift of love, really. I've been on and off a gathering that happens every day at noon called the Daily Antidote. And the Washington Rebels, Joe Rossi, who's their communications manager or community manager, started it. They've now been going for 300 and now, I guess, 68 days.
Wow.
Every day at noon for half an hour. One song.
Oh, that's nice.
And people from all around the world come in and they join in. And you sing that song, a little bit of conversation, and then you go off to your day. But it's that and any number of other song circles that have popped up. Coffee houses finally, beginning to, stream their shows. I did a live stream show for Cafe Lena in Saratoga. And as you said, you're in a room, you're singing to what seems like empty space. And the comments that come from people and how they're touched or just, it lets us know that what we're doing is the thing that changes the world, really.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So I've got a little housekeeping to do here, but could you think about doing one last song to wind us out, and then we'll come back and say goodbye after that?
Okay.
So you ponder that, and let me remind folks that our next concert is May the 15th, featuring Will Merring and Robert Bolton from Southern Illinois. Please spread the word about that. It's going to be a great show, and they do wonderful music. And like I've said, Robert is just an incredible musician. I will be part of a live stream next Wednesday for the Abraham Lincoln National Heritage Area. It's called Lincoln Conversations, and I host this series. And we will be doing a special show since it will actually be the 156th anniversary of Lincoln's funeral train. It's the day he leaves Washington 156 years earlier. We'll do a special show that touches on the funeral train and its impact on 4 communities here in Illinois: Bloomington, Atlanta, Lincoln, and Springfield. Hope you can join us for that one. I will also mention that after a year of producing a show and bringing artists in, I've actually been invited to go on someone else's series. Eric Noden is doing a series called 34th Street, where he and I will get on together, swap songs, and tell stories on one another. And I believe that is May the 7th. I'll check that here real quickly. Yes, it is. Friday, May the 7th. And there'll be information on my website on the performance schedule. I'm also slowly getting that back up again as well. Okay, so let's go back to Reggie Harris. And Reggie, take us out with one more song, then we'll come back and say goodbye.
Well, I'm going to go out with this song that is also from that great time when folks were connecting on community. It was a spiritual that eventually was used in the civil rights movement. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, no, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no ignorance turn me round, no, turn me round, no, turn me round. Ain't gonna let no ignorance turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let racism turn me round, oh, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let racism turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Some dessert. That'll teach me to eat dessert. Ain't gonna let my silence turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let my silence turn me round. I'm gonna keep on keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Whoa!
Oh, Reggie Harris, what a wonderful job. Oh my. Okay, I want to thank Reggie Harris for joining us tonight. I've had a wonderful time. Great conversation with Reggie. I hope you folks have enjoyed it as much as I do. Also want to say thank you to the Two Rivers Arts Council and the Illinois Arts Council Agency for supporting this program. A very special thanks to our technical producer, Brandon O'Sullivan from Clover Digital, who keeps us going and allows me just to focus on the performance and the conversation. You can donate at the links at the beginning if you are so inspired, and keep an eye, like Hickory Ridge Concerts Facebook page for updates for upcoming concerts, and we will see everyone down the road. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night.
Take care.